want to talk about depression, chronic pain, and some thoughts on Gideon the Ninth. A little bit of background on me, I guess, to begin. I have depression. I've been chronically ill since I was born. I have social anxiety, or social phobia, as I prefer to call it. Have hypermobility, so I have chronic pain, especially whenever it rains, etc., etc. So, when I was reading Gideon the Ninth, I weirdly, maybe it's just because I'm older now, but I didn't really see myself in Gideon. Like, I love her asides and her hilariously 2000s internet troll of her vernacular. That's what she said got me. Nice to see that has survived all the way to Pluto, or Ninth House. But the character that really stuck with me, or that I felt the most kinship with, was Septimus. I can never remember. I listened to the audiobook because I have a hard time reading a lot of text. So, Dulcinea Septimus. And it was interesting because Dulcinea talks about how her house is obsessed with beautiful death and how they cultivate their blood cancer, and how because they are dying, that makes their thaumaturgy that much stronger, which I find pretty interesting. Like I said, I was chronically ill from birth. I was always sick, so it was interesting to get a character like that who didn't really live in fear of death, but more so lived with the acceptance of death, which I also identify with. Like, it's just kind of always been a thing. It's like, yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna make it. I'm just kind of living on borrowed time. And to have made it 2:30, I kind of feel like all of this is gravy. As my mom likes to put it, it's all extra time that I'm getting. And as I get older and my body experiences more pain, and I start having to use mobility aids, I use a cane. Really, I've been thinking about using crutches. It was kind of wild for Dulcinea to come out on crutches, and I was like, oh shit, same girl, same. Dulcinea says that she doesn't want to die, which I find fascinating. Maybe it's because I have depression, but there are many times that, I won't say I want to, but I won't say I don't want to. And I don't know, I found that fascinating for a character who is in a world surrounded by death, literally skeletons, and all of the necromancers deal with different portions of death. Her house is the beautiful death, yet she says she doesn't want to die. Which I suppose, in a way, there's something that's just like intrinsically human about that, where, you know, they say that many people, like, when they're right on the precipice, they're like, oh, I don't actually want to do this. I have so many other things that I want to do. But I do try rather hard to live my life in a way so that I don't feel like I'm missing things, or that there are more things that I wanted to do. Like, yes, there are things that I want to do, but also, like, I suppose if I found out that my time was tomorrow, I'd kind of be like, that's fair. I did what I wanted to, and I'm at peace with that, you know? I also found it interesting that Dulcinea Septimus is defined by her illness. Gideon always talks about how light Dulcinea is, and how thin, and how she feels like carrying bones, or carrying a skeleton, or how she's just, you know, how she always gives a rattling cough, and how she gives a sigh like that of the last gasp of a butterfly's wings, or something like that. She's just always defined as very fragile, very delicate. I used to be that way. People used to pick me up all the time. I used to be, you know, similarly, expectedly, waifishly sick, you know? And in a way that kind of feels just like, of course, the sick character. A thin, brittle thing. Breakable. Part of me misses being that. Being the very picture of sickness, you know? Because it makes people look at you with, I suppose, pity, but also, like, you do get people actually taking you seriously when you look sick, you know? And people are willing to take care of you, and people are willing to treat you a certain way. And, like, I liked that, but also, as I've gotten, like, in order to, something that you do when you have hypermobility is you go to PT a lot, so that you gain muscle. And this is, like, one of the first times in my life that I could say that I am strong, and that I have muscle, and that I have, like, significant muscle mass. And yes, I still have bad days, obviously. I have horrible pain. Sitting up to record this is actively hurting my back. But that doesn't mean that I don't still need help, and that I don't still need to be looked at in a way where I'm given the same grace to rest, the same grace to not work and put myself and put my body, etc., through harshness. But I'm not given that. I'm sure there are chronically ill people who define themselves by their sickness, but I feel that the vast majority are like, yeah, I'm sick, but I'm also a person, and I have other things to me. I like fashion. I like making clothes. I like repairing clothes. I like sewing. I try to sew things for my friends. I will repair things for my partners because it brings me joy. Dulcinea reads. She wants to be a lictor. But if I'm remembering correctly, we don't find out like what her goal is. So we don't know, like, is she looking for a way to cure herself? Even though she had someone who pledged himself to care for her, and even Gideon, like, made her laugh and, like, cared for her. I have someone in my life that it is willing to care for me and does make me laugh and that I love and that happens to love me back. And so, like, it works for us, you know? But also, I have other things. I am other things. And Dulcinea doesn't feel like that to me. And then, like, there's, you know, she's a side character, so obviously we're not getting her whole internal monologue. We're not getting her as, like, a fully rounded character, because she is, you know, she is a character in opposition to our main character. She is, you know, so I get it. She's not intended to be the main focus of the narrative, so it's fine that she's not a completely three-dimensional character, because she doesn't really need to be. But, you know, it's still just, like, it stuck with me. I suppose there's another side to that she does live in a world that is literally defined by death. And so when that is death, and as she said, she's from a house that expected her to simply waste away prettily in a room. So that's why that became her, you know, wanting to be something else, or that kind of became her way to be something else, is to try to be a lictor, I suppose. It's also hard because we don't know, you know, how much of Dulcinea is, spoilers, how much of Dulcinea is our big bad guy who's pretending to be her. We don't know, you know? I can't exactly, you know, draw too many conclusions on, like, who this character is, because we haven't actually met this character. I don't know. She showed kindness to Gideon. She showed softness. And I get that that was, like, part of the charade. And something about the beautiful death kind of stuck with me. And something about how she was characterized, and seeing a character that used crutches and that did have a chronic illness and that was very sick and openly talked about being very sick, but was still functional, was interesting and not something that I had experienced before. And so it brought up a lot of thoughts for me. And so then that brings us to, what are my thoughts on, you know, the reveal and the change. It makes me sad that we don't actually ever get to know who this character was. It makes me sad that we never get to know what were her goals, what were her aspirations, who did she want to be, why was she traveling to the first house? Did she want to be a lictor? Did she honestly want to try? Or was she just there as obligation to show a face and die on that planet, instead of, like, was she rebelling in that way instead of dying on the her home planet, she was choosing to die on the first planet or something. We don't know. And so that raises a lot of questions for me. It makes me kind of sad that we'll never know that. As an asexual person, I didn't read Gideon's care for Dulcinea as sexual. I didn't read it as like, oh, I want to love this person or whatever. It was more so, I need to take care of this person. There's a drive here that I want to make sure this is okay. I want to protect them. I want to make sure that they're taken care of, and oh hey, I enjoy being around you. Especially because Gideon didn't get a lot of care or whatever in her life. So like it just kind of made sense to me. And like, yes, there's the bit towards the end where Gideon is like, I mean, I was only kind of into her. But like, I also am of the firm belief that Gideon has done absolutely no introspection as to that. So it's kind of moot, you know. Gideon is a character that had not experienced a lot and was experiencing it for the first time here, so I don't know. I don't really have a lot of conclusions to draw off of that, but I don't get the feeling that that was their vibe. Yeah, so it would have been interesting to learn more about Dulcinea and to know more about like how a character who is ill and knows that they're dying, but because of their dying has a certain amount of power. So like there is strength in her illness. How that would have played together. Now, I'm blanking on what our BBEG's Big Bad Evil Guy's name is, but she also has a deadly illness, and she also is dying. So like, you know, I've only read the first book, so I don't really know a lot about her. Potentially more will be revealed. She wants to kill the Emperor because she's pissed, and I'm not 100% clear on why she blames the Emperor for this. It could be because, like, holy shit, he made me absorb my cav, and so I'm really mad at you, and so I'm going to take out my anger on you. Or it could be rage at, oh, I'm stuck like this, so you're telling me that I was sick, I was born, I'm still sick, and now I'm stuck sick. So I have all this power, but I'm still sick. I'm just eternally stuck in a state of dying. That rage, I can understand. That makes sense to me. Because that's how I feel a lot of times. It's like, whenever people are like, oh, be happy for the life that you have. And it's like, why? Why should I be? I'm hurting all the time. My life is hard. I have to choose every few months. Do I put myself back in a situation that I know is going to hurt me but will give me money? Or do I or do I just struggle through and get whatever I can while trying to live a life that kind of makes me happy while I'm still hurting? You know, either way you slice it, it's not great, and I can understand that rage. I can get that. Wanting to take that out on someone else. Using that power and wanting to just destroy everything. I can get that. But again, I don't know if that's that character's aspiration because I haven't read the other books. So I'm interested to learn more about our big bad guy. Mostly because I'm coming at this from the view of someone who obviously doesn't know what it's like to struggle and suffer like that. Because I am not actively dying, but I am in pain often. I am somewhat able-bodied to do a certain amount of things for myself. So again, I can get it, I can sympathize, I can empathize. So I'm interested to know more about this character. I mostly just wanted to record a video to like kind of process my thoughts. What is it like being ill but powerful, and how I felt seen in a way. Just a lot of thoughts. If anybody watches this, let me know if you had similar feelings. I have to go feed my cat.